winning. That's everybody's goal, is to win. I always told people to be a successful crew chief, you got to gain respect.
31-75.
And the way you gain respect is by winning races and being on top of your game.
NASCAR, when you see it on TV, you see the race vehicle out there, whether it be a truck like I'm driving or a car, a cup car like you see on TV also. You see that actually, performing on the racetrack, but when it comes time for the pit stops, you've got 7 men over the wall to change tires, fuel the thing, make adjustments.
Any little mistake can cost us. That's what everybody lives for. It's the end of the year championship. Pays a lot of money, and the biggest thing is it's glamour.
The lifestyle of racing in the NASCAR series, it is a lifestyle that I would never give up in a million years. Yes, it's day-to-day hectic traveling here, there, everywhere, but yet it's a family unit.
I mean, we're on the road every weekend out of the year. Got a couple weekends off here and there, but it's basically, you're on the road, you live with these guys.
We spend more time together as a group, the team members and everything, as we do with our families. We travel together, hotels, and we do everything together with the racetrack for 14 hours a day. So this is your family.
We all travel so much, and we go to different places. We see each other every weekend and a lot of the week, and so it was quite a heartbreak when we heard the news.
The major story of discussion in the NASCAR Winston Cup garage today is a very sad story. We've all followed together the story of Tara and Shawn Parker, Dale Jarrett's crew chief, and his wife over the last couple of years through her quest for a heart transplant, and a successful one, and a new baby coming into their life just over a month ago. Sadly, Tara was killed on Wednesday night in a car accident outside of Greensboro, North Carolina, along with 2 others. She was 29 years old. Everyone here at the racetrack thinking about Shawn today. His team is here trying to carry on their work, though their hearts are elsewhere.
What happened with Shawn was tragic to this whole community. Shawn's a great guy, and he's loved by a lot of people in this garage. And Tara was too. Tara spent a lot of time in the garage being a Miss Winston girl, and it was tough for a lot of people. It hit a lot of people really hard.
When her and Shawn first met, we did a lot of stuff together, went places and raced Legends cars, and she was always with us. We hung out on the lake hundreds of times.
We were out doing a autograph session at a nightclub or a restaurant type deal, and we just met that night and just went out to dinner, and the next thing you know, we were kind of dating. She was in the racing and working for Winston as a Miss Winston, trophy girl, I guess some people would call it. And she was traveling and I was traveling, and kind of lived in the same area, and it just, we just kind of hit it off from there. Tara was born with a single ventricle, which was a heart defect. And throughout racing, we were having to, really deal with her health condition. At the time, she had had 5 open heart surgeries before we met. And each year, we had to go to the doctors were trying to experiment. And on July 28th of 2001, she actually received the heart transplant. Because of Tara's complications, it was highly recommended not to have our own child. So we really thought about adoption. There was a lot of children out there that needed good homes, and we got word that a match had been found for what we were looking for, and a family had chosen us to be the parents. It's very touching to know what we went through, and I mean, I've got a beautiful child.
You don't ever count a day as a bad day. Every day is a good day because you're here and you get to go home at night and see your wife and children. And I went to bed that Wednesday night and everything was perfect in everybody's world that I knew. And you wake up Wednesday morning and one of your closest friends his life is upside down.
They heard a Fleetwood Mac was coming to town. And so Tara was on the phone scrambling, trying to get tickets. And, they were going to drive themselves. And so at the last minute, Tara found a limousine company that, at the last minute was a reasonable rate. Wasn't going to charge an arm and a leg to take him to the concert. And it was going to be Daddy's first night watching Jagger. I was running a little bit late, and she jumped in the limousine, and off she went. I woke up to him crying. in his crib. So in the middle of the night, I roll over and I look, and it's 3:30, and and it's like, Tara's not here. Something's not. So I come downstairs to get a bottle, and as I went down the stairs and into the kitchen, I turned the light on, and I seen lights pull up into our back driveway, and I get to the door, and there's 2 police officers, and they said, hey, we're sorry. And I'm like, well, what do you mean? They're like, they said there's been an accident. And I was like, where are they at? And they're like, well, she didn't make it. And I was so in shock. And it's like, so Jagger was crying. It just all happened so fast. I come upstairs and I grabbed Jagger and went back downstairs and just laid on the floor feeding him his bottle. And that's when I broke down in tears and crying.
Dale Jarrett's crew chief, Shawn Parker, lost his wife last night in a car accident. Tara Howell Parker was 29 years old. Also killed in the accident were her stepsister and half-sister. Shawn and Tara had recently adopted a baby boy named Jagger.
Racing is a big part of our life, but it's only about, this big compared to that, what happened. Really what we do for a living really didn't mean a whole lot at that time. It was really so insignificant.
Shawn used to work for our organization. He worked for Roush Racing and worked on Mark Martin's team for a long time. And so I've known Shawn for a long time in our sport. When we heard the news, it was just, none of us could believe it at first.
The lasting impact that I think is first, ultimately the fact that she was killed by a drunk driver. And, some people forget there was 3 young ladies that were killed by a drunk driver in that limousine.
The police officer did tell me that a drunk driver did hit them, but I didn't know the car caught on fire, didn't know they were trapped. All I knew is that a drunk driver had hit them. And you hear it all over the news. Once a week there's somebody getting killed by a drunk driver. It doesn't take but a quarter to call somebody. Cell phones these days, borrow your buddy's cell phone, It doesn't take a genius to figure out, okay, I've had too much to drink, I'm impacted.
I don't say that going out having a good time is wrong, or if it's right, but I don't think it's wrong as long as you have a designated driver, as long as you always have that,
Fans are #1 to NASCAR. That's what draws this sport to where it is. It's what draws the publicity. And the impact story with Tara and the drinking and driving, it was kind of like they lost a family member in this sport, because it just didn't impact me, it impacted my whole race team.
As a driver point of view, you look at the Tony Stewarts, the Dale Juniors, the Rusty Wallaces, those are the rock stars of our world, of the NASCAR community. They're the rock stars of the community, and a fan or someone in the outside looking in, they're gonna look at them and like, oh gosh, those guys are crazy, they drive 200 miles an hour, they're rock stars, they'll do anything they want, they're crazy, But ultimately, at the end of the day, they are responsible human beings that have got to make their sponsors happy, that have got to make their fans happy, that have got to be responsible for their team.
It's so easy to not think about the consequences of your actions, especially when you're young. It only takes a second for things to turn really, really ugly and change a lot of people's lives forever.
Think about what one person had lost that was been through so much in their life with a heart transplant, open heart surgeries, and just trying to fight for life, and then finally really getting through the hurdle and really starting to move on with life, and then all of a sudden you have a tragedy like this and she never gets to enjoy her life. And my son will always, wonder who his mommy was, and that's gonna be something hard for me to explain to him. Families out there, just, grab your loved ones and just tell them how much you love them, and just think about what would you do if they weren't there.
Hey Washington, this is Nextel driver Greg Biffle, driver of the National Guard Ford. Use your head, don't drink and drive.
You should know by now.
This is Matt Kenseth. It's a team effort. Don't drink and drive.
Hey, get the claws off!
Hey, Washington, it's Mark Martin. You drive hammered, you're going to get nailed.
Drive hammered! Getting it! Say what you try!